So all the tear out's done on this job. Now we got to start the install process. And a lot of these where I got a tooth in or lace in to the existing hardwood floor, however you want to refer to it. I always get people asking, how do you know which way to go? Well, that's a pretty easy answer. Whichever way the tongues are pointing, I'm going to start as far back as I can and shoot off and fill all this in before we turn around and go the other way. Now, I always go up there with a laser, and we're going to check it and make sure everything's straight. It's not off. Sometimes we've got to tweak it just a little bit. Other times we actually have to cut and rip something crooked, such as in a doorway, but that's actually on another video. This one here is actually straight, good to go, no problems. So I'm only going to get those couple rows in, nailed, fastened in place. You can see the tongues are on the other side. All I have is a groove on this end, so I got to put a tongue on this one so we can turn around and keep going. I'm going to put some wood glue in there, and then I'm going to put a piece of spline or slip tongue in there, again, however you want to refer to it. And I'm going to fasten that in place. And yes, there is a moisture barrier on this job. It's actually Bona R540. One coat of that was rolled on. Again, you cannot do 2 coats of a roll-on moisture barrier on a wooden substrate, just 1 coat. After the slip tongue's all in, I'm going to put 2 rows in over on this side. We're going to hit it in with a big nailer. I personally use cleats. And the reason I'm doing that, just those 2 rows over here, is because I want to hold it still, because we're going to fill in the whole other side, and I don't want to be hitting it with a nailer and it starts kicking off. If I don't put enough flooring in, we start hitting it with a nailer on the other side, you could start moving the entire row over a little bit and it wouldn't be straight, and I don't want that. So I always put a couple rows on the other side before I keep going, just to hold everything still so I know there's not going to be any issues. This one was not that fun to lace back into place because the new wood that we were putting in is about a 32nd to a 16th wider. Now that starts adding up across the rows pretty quick. As you can see here, I'm a strong 1/8 inch right there that I got to rip off this row, reroute it, and then put this row back in. So I'm going to go out to the table saw. I'm going to cut about a 1/8 inch off this. Then I'm going to take it over on another table and I'm going to run a router through it with a groove bit to make sure the groove's deep enough so this will fit back in like it was never cut before. Now this is where it gets aggravating, so I'm only showing you this one board, but I have to do this on across the entire row, and I had to do this about every 3 to 4 rows. So some of these where we got to go across 20, 30 feet, depending on the layout of the house, it's actually cheaper for me to just rip it all up and start back over, because the labor and time to do some of these across really long runs can really add up and get expensive. And this is another place that you always want to have like a bundle of a wider width wood in case the wood was a little bit short and you got to make the rows an 1/8 inch wider. Just depending on the wood that's there and how much it has expanded and contracted over the years. You know, a 32nd or a 64th of an inch doesn't sound like much, but I can tell you, if you start adding up across rows, it starts adding up real quick. And everywhere I'm sliding the wood back in, I don't want to top nail that, so that's where we're using the silane base adhesive to attach the wood to the substrate, and it still mimics the expansion and contraction of the hardwood floors, and it's also not going to squeak. But there's still a lot to do on this job, so stay tuned and there'll be plenty more videos. Thanks for watching.